Very good morning to you if you're just joining us. Our friends in Kilifi. Salam kaze.
Memkaje.
And then how do you respond?
Dalamka.
Salamka.
Yes.
Kumbuka yale, ukienda Kilifi bana.
Yeah.
Sawa. City has the day's proverb.
Yes. Do not catch a leopard by its tail, but if you do, should that happen, don't let go.
Do not catch a leopard by its tail.
No, don't.
However, should you be stupid enough to do so?
Should you be not even stupid, deranged.
Should stupidity bring you to that level?
Where you've decided to reach the penultimate
and you just
level.
find the leopard's hand in your hand. The leopard's tail in your hand. And you're like, oh my God.
I've got the tail.
Don't let go.
Don't.
Or you will die.
Well, our guest this morning is Gabriel MUTHUMA. Gabriel is a policy and governance expert. He joins us in the Situation Room. Good morning, Gabriel.
Good morning to you in studio and to our viewers.
Karibu sana to
Asante
the hot
sana.
seat
Asante sana.
of Kenya's biggest conversation.
Asante sana.
What's a governance and policy expert? What does that mean? What do you do? How does that make you money?
Well, first of all, I do a lot of things. But when you talk about policy, is where you develop, articles that most of us, go by. Like, for instance, I can bring it down to what you do. You're guided by certain principles. You're guided by certain guidelines.
Yes.
That's what actually brings about a policy of how you operate. And the key to when we talk about governance, ensuring that what we have set in play is followed to the core, is what now brings in the entire platform of governance. But majorly, many people don't understand when you talk about the policy and governance aspect of it. Many people will think, you sit down in a kadak room somewhere and you create and you write. That's really not the bigger picture. The bigger picture is when it comes to implementation. You must implement it, people must follow it, and they must be able to do that which is contained in what has been written and set forth.
Okay. City, umesikia?
I have heard what our brother has said. I just don't understand it.
Stick around. Stick around. Hang around, Gabriel. It may just rub off on you.
With time.
With time.
With time.
So, Gabriel, some big business in the National Assembly yesterday afternoon and getting into today, this morning. And this is with regards to report by the Committee on Assumption. No, not Assumption. The Committee of the National Assembly that vetted nominees of President William Ruto's
Proposed cabinet.
And they came up with a report. And there was some unanimity in recommending the approval of a majority of members. And then there was some unanimity in rejecting the approval of one member. And there was dissent with regards to nomination of 2 members. Now let's look at the 2. So there was a dissenting report tabled in the National Assembly where 8 legislators who were mostly allied to Azimio rejected the names of Agriculture and Livestock nominee Mithika Linturi and his Public Service and Gender and Affirmative Action counterpart Aisha Jumwa, citing integrity questions. The MPs Opiyo Wandayi, Robert Mboi, Junaid Mohammed, David Kosing, Naisula Lesuda, Mishi Mboko, Abdi Shurie and Kaliba Misi said the 2 nominees had integrity issues thus not fit for public office. It's important to note, though, that Mishi Mboko did not append her signature in the dissenting issue on Aisha Jumwa. She rather abstained from that vote. But she appended her signature on the issue of Mithika Linturi. Then they all agreed on the others, but they also agreed to recommend the rejection of Wildlife, Tourism and Heritage CS nominee Penina Malonza. What do you make of that?
But the most important thing, which I also read out of all this, and I think it should also form the basis of our conversation this morning, was they also tried very much, if you saw yesterday, tried very much to sanitize that situation or that rejection. When our nominee came to the interview, something happened, which to me was critical. We immediately started, and you saw that on social media, and it was all over. And even where I was seated, people were saying, "Ay, uyo naongeaje? How is she talking?" So we immediately started judging that particular candidate on her articulation, not on her communication. And I think at this point we need to start really looking deep. What were we looking for? Were we looking for articulation, or are we looking for communication? Because this person, if we are to be honest, and I'm not holding forth for her, I just want us to be very clear, and I just want us to be, at the very least, to be open and speak about it. What were we looking for? Was it that she could not articulate, or was it that we could not understand? Because really, I don't think there's a syllabus of becoming a cabinet secretary. And you can't tell me, because of what I saw, that she was unable to comprehend the office she was going to. I can tell you, most of the CSS who are passed do not have experience to the ministries that they are going to hold. You cannot sit down and tell me, oh, the cabinet nominee for foreign affairs, our very good friend, the former governor of Machakos, has experience in foreign service. No. In these ministries, you have departmental heads and state departments where you have technical people who will assist you. So I think from the word go, we started questioning her ability to communicate. And I think, to me, that was a disservice to her. Because what we started doing was looking at how her lingua franca was going. Let's put it in another way, guys. If this interview was conducted in a language that she was comfortable with, or in, would she have passed?
Are you saying she's not comfortable in English?
To me, that's what came out. And that's what we are judging.
Did she say she's not comfortable in English?
No, that's what I'm saying. But that is what we are judging. Because let's face it,
this is somebody
judging.
Let me ask you.
I feel it. You know why?
Hold on, Gabriel.
We talked about articulation.
Hold on.
We talked about articulation.
You watched all the nominees.
Yes.
What were you looking for? When you saw Professor Jogonan Ndong'u,
yes,
like you've said, Dr. Alpha Mutua appear.
Right.
And you saw Kipchumba Murkomen appear, and with the Kalinturi, and Aisha Jumwa, and the others. What were you looking for?
First of all, I wanted to know if they have the grasp of things. One.
Grasp of things.
Secondly,
how do you know what somebody has a grasp of things?
Secondly, it's not through their communication alone. And that's what I want us to. I want to divorce that aspect of being eloquent from the ability of me understanding what she is saying.
How do you know that they have a grasp?
Now, you do that, which is quite easily, by looking at where they've come from. To me, that to me is more of a good judgmental platform than what she's talking about. I want to know, what did she do when she was the deputy governor of Kitui? That to me makes more sense. How did she rise from a junior officer at Compassion International to become a senior director? That's what I want to know. How was she able to rise from where she started at AMREF to the time when she was leaving AMREF?
How will you know that?
Yeah, it is looking at her historic technicalities that led to her being promoted.
So when you're watching,
that to
Gabriel,
me,
when you are watching, you see the MPs have the benefit of having the CV in front of them. You, as Gabriel, because you're telling us, the audience, that we are being unfair.
No, I'm not saying we are being unfair.
Don't
what
have
I'm saying
the
is
CV, so we don't have okay. So between 1985 March, she rose from this position in this organization to this one. How do you judge somebody's competences in rising through the ranks, if not by them saying it?
But you see, if we go by that narrative, that's why I'm saying we are going to do a disservice, because we expect if we are going to use that variable, to pass her, then that would mean the only thing she needs to be qualified for is to be a good narrator. and we're going to be wrong. Because everybody who shouts to the mic or is eloquent to the mic does not mean they are going to qualify and be able to do their duties right. We need to be very clear about that. And that's why you found, they say, not me, they say, some of the best con men are very good speakers, are very good articulators, because that becomes their tool of trade. All right? But I think we were just too harsh. We needed to have, and I think this is what we didn't have. We didn't have more time to really interrogate. And that is why, my good friends, anytime you're given an assignment, you're given 6 months to prove yourself. Why are you given 6 months? So that people can see what you're able to bring to the table. Only this time round, we were too quick. And by the way, it started immediately on social media. The mere fact that she could say, cheap, and people are wondering, what is she talking about? And many people will understand, oh, did she mean the ship that will bring tourists? Is that what she's trying to communicate? No. Wait. The mere fact that I'm understanding her, and many people would judge her because she has said something.
It is not because of the connotation. When you are watching, I mean, come on.
Trust me, we are very bad judge of characters because the variables we use are not right. And that's why I was asking, when we learn, when we bring education to the facet of understanding, do we use it to qualify somebody that they have the technical ability, or do we use it for sophistication? We have to be very clear about that. Because if it means sophistication, then we are going to lose a lot. Tell you what, would you go to a doctor who's not able to articulate the lingua franca of the English, because that's the standard we use to judging people, but they are able to do what they're able to do with finesse?
No, I think that is the crux of the matter. That what you, at the very least, that what you do should be, you should be able to communicate what you can do by what you say. And this is the thing, that if what is coming out of your mouth does not prove, even, look, and we're not even saying 100%, even to the barest minimum, that you would then be able to deliver. That is the issue. Because you must also remember that 24 people were vetted.
Right.
Why is it that they were all right with 23 of them and not this one? Why is it that whatever was communicated, because you cannot tell me that each of the remaining 23 communicated in succinct English, communicated in the Queen's English? Everybody has a tinge of,
the mother tongue.
The mother tongue that you're referring to. You will not tell me that 23 of them then met the mark at all of this. No. But there was something about what they communicated that was enough, that was sufficient enough for this committee to say, all right, we are accepting, because and that's one of the questions that you asked before, what were they looking for? Whatever it is that we're looking for. Maybe if you sat on the committee, you would have been looking for something else. But that which they were looking for, 23 of them, they were satisfied that, okay, what we've heard, we have been able to make some sense of. In this case, they didn't.
And this is why I'm asking. Immediately they tabled that report. They went again to try and sanctify that which they had tabled. To me, actually, I found out to be a little bit weird. We're saying this person has has no integrity issues. You may remember, right? And they go on to say she is qualified as far as education is concerned. She has satisfied that.
Academically
qualified. She is top notch. And that's why I'm asking.
Integrity-wise, she has no integrity issues, no cases in court, and never been taken to court.
And I would think, to me, that should be a variable that we should pay attention to more than her ability to communicate. See, I can understand probably where people may be coming from by saying, "Uyo najua," because that was the narrative. "Uyo nakajui," and the way she would fiddle with papers.
But Gabriel,
it's narrative of who?
Gabriel.
But you see, let me bring something to the works, and understand me here. It seems we were flawed in an area which we need to relook, and I'm glad. Let's see what Parliament does. Let's see what the bigger house does, because they may see another picture that we are unable to see. But I felt from where I'm sitting there, I stand corrected, but I felt the way she articulated things were actually, that was the detriment. I felt that is where she went wrong. And that does not mean that the mere fact that she was unable to articulate, define English or being understood very well may have actually contributed.
Well, you're right, because as Kimani Ichung'wah was moving this motion in Parliament, he said, yes, in terms of everything else, she's okay. But in terms of articulation, we did not feel confident that she is suitable for this docket, not suitable to be a minister. She has been nominated to a specific docket. And it's not the job of Parliament to say, no, Mr. President, move this one around, move this one. You've brought Gabriel, and you said Gabriel should be the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, and he comes here and he says, you know what I think we need to do is we need to make sure that that Kenya and Kazakhstan have good business relations, because, you know, Kazakhstan is the biggest buyer of Kenya's charcoal. And people look at you and they're thinking, boss, do you know what you're talking about? Basically, if you don't inspire confidence that you actually are suitable for that docket, the job of members of Parliament is to say, this person not suitable for the job that you are hiring them for. And that's what the committee was saying.
You see, and that's what I'm saying. By using that variable alone, articulation, I think we missed the mark.
It's not just articulation,
I'll give you an example.
Gabriel. No, you're reducing it to articulation.
No, to me, that is what, I mean, she has passed every other...
It's not just articulation.
But these things,
passed every
the
other
communication.
Sphere. No, Gabriel, she has gone...
Gabriel,
yeah.
These things you say she has passed, what are they? I mean...
We were told the academics were okay.
No. Forget even the academics and all that. What are the fundamentals in determining who is a suitable CS? I mean,
we were told the integrity tests were okay. In fact, you've raised a very good question. What other variables were there? Did they have a sheet to mark? You know, that this one she has gone through very well. She has gained the good marks, because I know in an interview you have a general sheet where they say, "Oh no, how is he behaving? How did he walk?"
There's a weighted scale.
Something like that. But you see, we've and again, I stand corrected, but I think we've put a lot of emphasis on our lingua franca. And
again, it's you who's putting that emphasis.
No, it's not me. I wish you'd have gone on social media and you see what
that
people are saying.
That is social media, because social media did not write the report.
No, but
Kimani Ichung'wah,
he also talked about articulation.
Is the leader of the majority.
He also talked about articulation.
He spoke about articulation, but he also spoke about communication, and majorly communication. Did she inspire confidence in the vetting committee that she is suitable for the docket, the job for which she's been nominated? And that's what they said. For this particular job, we don't have any issue on the person. We don't have any issue on her character. We don't have any issue on her integrity. However, suitability for this job is what we felt.
Then what you have to define for me, my good friends, is communication.
No, it isn't. No.
Yes.
First of all, what is this criteria that people even use for nominating? I mean, we are discussing a political process as though it's some cut and dried examination where you understand the limits of the examination, you have a clear marking scheme. This entire process, where's the clarity in it? Do you know what it is that it takes for someone to be nominated? Let's start there. What do you need in order to be nominated?
But this is
apart from being a politician, and then when you've been nominated and you've been given a job, what is this thing that we require you to demonstrate? And then how do you demonstrate that you are capable and you're able to do that very job? Ministers are not appointed because they can speak well and they're able to articulate well.
Need I say more?
No, but here we are.
Continue, Citi.
Finish.
Minister appointed.
Now you're going somewhere.
Actually, don't be too happy.
No, I'm happy because you said something.
No, but that's not why they're appointed. This is a political process.
Right.
Political processes follow political rules.
Correct.
You are appointed because you have shown a certain ability that suits the appointing officer.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the articulation. Right. None whatsoever. You are appointed because you were a good party participant. I'm using the word participant deliberately here. You are chosen because they want...
You're on the right side of rain politically.
Yes, exactly. And you want an element of diversity, and then what is unspoken of the task that you'd be given, it is believed that you have the headspace to be able to do what is required on that job. Now, these are the discussions we're having here about whether she can speak or not. There are people who interview badly. You bring them to an oral interview. I've said it on this very show. They will interview badly.
Correct.
It has no reflection whatsoever in their ability to actually do the job.
Which I agree with you. What we are trying to do is the report that they wrote. What they said, she didn't qualify.
No,
because we are talking about a rejected.
No,
somebody, a nominee that
before
was
the
rejected.
report, Gabriel, these are politicians.
Yes.
What is their tool of trade? These people trade with words.
Correct.
That's what they do.
Correct.
So
Gift
when they,
of the gab.
Yes, so when they judge you with what they're familiar with.
True.
Okay?
True. And I think to me, and I'm glad you've said it, I think there's a master plan with the administration that's in. So I like what you've said because there was a knowledge that preceded her being nominated as a cabinet secretary.
Yes.
There is a knowledge out there that the person who nominated her, who is the president, was putting her as part of the grand plan which they have.
Gabriel, we cannot run away.
Yes.
This is the truth. We cannot run away from the fact that some of these appointments stand as rewards for people who are loyal to them.
Of course.
Okay?
Of course.
Now, look, as luck or whomever would have it, people who maybe in a different setting would have interviewed in the same manner in which she did. It just didn't happen in this one. It just so happened that they were able to pass the mark.
Right.
In a different situation, maybe we would be talking about them as well. But we cannot say that just that somebody was in the grand plan and therefore there was this government plan that they had and this person fit square for square directly in that. No, we cannot run away.
But at the same
we
time,
cannot run away from the fact that rewarding was done for nominations.
Of
You
course.
cross your fingers and knock on wood that they would pass the vetting committee, but in the event that they do not, then you're able to cut your losses and you move.
Of course that comes to play. Of course that comes to
A
play.
big
And it's
thing
not
as
only,
well.
It's not only a reward. You know, there's another criteria of, you know, gender balance. There's another criteria of the area.
Regional balance
Regional
and all.
balance. There's quite a lot of
But
criteria. What has she served? You
There's
know?
something else as well, Gabriel, that the appointing authority is also playing politics.
Of course. It's a political process.
And one of the things that the appointing authority also wants to have is the approval by the masses that, yes, you have made good choices. Okay? And that approval from the masses is also very important.
Right.
And how do the masses feel that you made a good choice? Is by perception.
Yes.
This person's perception, do they have a good grasp of matters that were being discussed? Are they carrying themselves well? Are they appearing drunk in a pub somewhere? I mean, if a president hears that his minister is appearing drunk somewhere in pubs, and the president will take action, even if that person is basically performing very well.
Correct.
So it's also very important for the appointing authority to balance between, yes, I'm doing regional balancing, I'm doing gender balancing, I'm looking at political affiliations and playing that game, and also looking at, all right, so this person, are they advancing my agenda of winning the public trust?
That could
If
be
the
another-
person does not advance your agenda of winning public trust, then that's a big issue. Now, if a person appears before a vetting committee and the public reaction is she doesn't seem to have a grasp of this particular docket. Remember, it's not a new docket that's being created. People already know what tourism is all about. It's one of the largest foreign exchange earners in the country.
Correct.
It's Kenya's marketing front to the world, right? It's a docket that deals with, looking at how can we promote Kenya internationally.
Right.
If this person then doesn't inspire confidence in the committee and in the people who are watching, there's an issue. And the inspiration of confidence is not because she shrubs. It's not because of how she dressed. It's because of how she communicated, her understanding of the docket. Everybody else, there's no issue with understanding.
No,
of the
let's
docket.
play the devil's advocate a little bit. Kimani Ichung'wah, to an extent, talked about it, and also and you may have seen it when she started the interview. I think there was some backroom discussion because all these people are coming from one front, which is the Kenya Kwanza. I recall very well the Speaker of the National Assembly, Wetangula, telling her, relax. All right? So I want us to also talk about the environment.
Okay.
That environment
can be intimidating.
Indeed it was.
Yeah.
And Kimani Ichung'wah talked about other people, other nominees that were also intimidated by the very same setup.
Yep.
So I think we need, and that's why I was saying, we need to give some latitude and ask ourselves, okay, is that environment too harsh? And I understand where you're coming from. I mean, tourism is the gateway.
You're Kenya's marketing director.
Exactly. And also, to their plan, I also see, if you look at the number of hustlers, if I may use that word, who are within the hospitality and the tourism industry, there are many. As a matter of fact, if that docket, used well, can actually open this country to great frontiers.
Yep.
But having said that, I also think we also need to qualify what were we looking for. And until we answer that question, we are all going to be lost.
Gabriel, who's we? Who's we?
Who's we here?
I've told you what I was looking for. I'm looking for someone who inspires confidence in all those things.
We as a country must ask what we're looking for, because we need to ask the ability of somebody performing. What have they brought to the table? We need to be very result-oriented than starting the meeting point at how you're communicating. Let me give you an example. Have you ever heard Pep Guardiola speaking?
Yep.
Have you ever heard of Jose Mourinho speaking?
Yep.
These people are leading English clubs.
Yep.
Right? How is their English? They speak ball, get. But we don't. We judge them. We judge them.
Football managers of clubs.
we judge them by the titles and the trophies. And I think we need to get to a point where we are judging people by the titles they are bringing in and the trophies. I wouldn't care less how she communicates if she gives me 5 million tourists.
Unfortunately, I care how she communicates, because this particular docket that you're talking about, you're speaking on a global stage.
Let's take a break. Let's take a break, Gabriel. We'll be back shortly. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, 25 minutes to 9. Gabriel MUTHUMA is a policy and governance expert. We are discussing President William Ruto's cabinet nominees and the one that was rejected unanimously by the committee. Parliament is going to be debating that again today, and they will vote on it today. It's largely expected that the plenary of the House will actually vote to save her, and she'll be appointed. But is there public confidence on Penina Malonza to be the new cabinet secretary for tourism? That's a big issue.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
Occupying the hot seat is Gabriel MUTHUMA, policy and governance expert. We are looking at President William Ruto's CS nominees, the cabinet vetting report, and what is happening in the National Assembly today. Some comments on social media.
George Odhiambo says, well, something would have suited that job profile. It would have made her lead such a high-profile portfolio. Such was meant for loyalists, is what they're saying. And this is in response to, as Andrew's question of why wasn't Rebecca Mayano nominated to be the CS Energy? So that's another question. Benjin Dolo says, what Gabriel MUTHUMA is doing is wrong. It's how we mainstream mediocrity and third rate only in Africa. Why? Jack Olang, on the other hand, thinks that you should have been nominated for a CS position. It is a policy articulation position. You have to be able to articulate policy. You have to communicate it, which is the truth. So when you lay this kind of emphasis on communication, you're actually disqualifying her more than the committee did.
Let's answer Benjin Dolo. He's my friend. And the
Can I tell you one more?
Yes.
He says a CS position is a PR position. It needs someone who can articulate issues. Let her be absorbed somewhere else.
The reason why I gave you the example of Pep Guardiola and somebody like Jose Mourinho, if we were to bring those two people, assuming we are vetting somebody for the job of a national football coach.
Yes.
And we bring them to Parliament.
Yes.
Do the very same thing.
Yes.
You know the first thing they would do? No, I would take a team, take stadium, goal, fix. That's how they'll talk.
Right. At
But
least they understand
technical,
there is team,
the concept.
there is goal, there is thing. Because of what? Because they have a background in it.
No,
now,
but
if
their
you
communication.
Hold on.
They are not good communicators.
If you pick, it's not good communicator, but
they are
They are
technical.
actually very good communicators.
They are not articulating
in their own way.
well.
Oh, articulate. Yes,
But
in
they
their
are
own way.
communicating.
It's not even articulation. You people are talking about prowess of the English language.
Yes.
Which
is what we are judging people.
Yes,
No.
and yet if this person can be understood, the results you speak of means they're able to communicate.
Yes.
This goal left, ball gone, whatever
Communication
it is.
is not only by word of mouth.
Yes.
So what we are looking for, what we will be looking for, is the results. And that's what I look for.
And they're telling you very clearly.
You asked me that question is, what I would care more, what I would care more is if Malonza is able to move the 2 million tourists that we receive annually to 5 million. I would really not care if she can be able to articulate a policy.
Now, they're telling you by the way in
results.
which she spoke to them that day, they were not convinced that she would be able to do those things that you have said.
And what's more,
But you see, I've just given you the example of the likes of the coaches that we watch and the games that we watch.
Those people,
the other thing, let me
those people.
What arena are they playing in?
We want to pass the test.
Hold on. We are still on Pep Guardiola.
Yes.
Pep Guardiola has risen through the ranks of football.
Correct.
Pep Guardiola has been a player. He has gone into management training.
Yes.
He then comes, let's say, the first time that he was hired by Barcelona as an assistant manager.
Yeah.
They were looking at, so do you have the pedigree? Okay. So as we ask you questions, do you understand the positions in the field? You know, left back, wing back, keeper, striker, the positions. Do you understand? If we ask you, so how would we win this tournament? And you are explaining, even if they are asking this guy, this Spanish guy in English, and he's using that broken English, but he's talking about, if we do this and the other, but he's basically talking the technical aspects of it. It's because he understands it. But now take the same Pep Guardiola and bring him and tell him run Safaricom.
Fish out of water.
And you're asking those questions.
But
and the man does not show you that he understands mobile telephony, the technology. He doesn't understand data. He doesn't understand
telecommunications at all.
He doesn't understand market. He doesn't own all these things. If you don't get the confidence that this person actually has a grasp of what we're talking about, this person has done some bit of homework, he understands this industry, then you don't give them the job. Because this is their point. This is at the point of interview, Gabriel. You are saying that Pep Guardiola has applied and the board of Safaricom is looking for a new CEO.
Good.
And Pep Guardiola has applied.
Even though
because he's a very good guy, let's give him 1 year and see.
Even though you've moved even though you've moved our discussion to an industrial specific, I was still in football. You brought the telecommunications. That would then seek to qualify that any person who can come and entice us with the technicalities of telecoms would then mean just because they know mobility, just because they know telephony, just because they know how base stations are hoisted, just because they can tell us the difference between a base station and a Pico base station, it would mean then they qualify for the job. Yet we have not just
if they speak like they understand and then they also understand how to manage a business.
That is where we go wrong.
That is where we go wrong. The current CEO of Safaricom did not come from a mobile company.
That is where we go wrong, because this person will pass the test. He will pass the test of understanding, not doing. And we've gone wrong so many times with that, because what they will pass is what the marking scheme requires.
Okay.
You will satisfy the examiner, but when push comes to shove, you will fail. That is why, to me,
allow me to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
If you were sitting on the vetting committee, and try as much as possible to be objective.
Yes, I am. And I'm trying to be.
Now, if you were sitting on the vetting committee and she answered the questions, I'm not saying what were they looking for. I'm not even asking you to pose different questions.
Yes.
If you were sitting on the vetting committee and she answered the questions and she laid her claim, made her statements in the manner in which she did about the docket for which she was being vetted for, would you be comfortable in passing her?
What I'll be looking for, and that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. what they were looking for, that's why I said, what were we looking for? I was looking for a different set of things. I was looking for her coming and telling us, which she did to an extent. She was not able to articulate it, but she had a background of knowing the tourists, what she would do. Yeah. She mentioned, I think we need to do loco, even though, loco is now, with counties.
Well, still but the national government has a lot of work of promoting
but we would able. She was trying to bring a marination of ideas, but she was not able to push them through. And that's why I was thinking, if you give such people time to see the results. I am so results-oriented, and I can understand if we make that interview, the gatekeeper. I understand that. But there is a reason why somebody who looks as if they can do the job, and probably this is where we'll all agree, will create confidence. But then that is also flawed because we can take the very best person who knows how to divine and articulate, and they become failures. For instance, we are talking about, you said on the industrial specific of the telecoms, what experience does Duale have in defense? And that we come to what he said. A political process follows a grand plan. The person who nominated them has a greater plan. Do we see that plan? Because he only knows the plan.
Or and he's rewarding his political buddies. Come on.
It could be. But these people are not standalones. They will not work alone. There are officers within the state departments that will assist them do the job.
Absolutely. But there is a mark of leadership that at least they must bear.
I think what we need to run away from is the qualification of articulation, because I think we are flawed.
You're the one who brings it.
No.
You came in right off the bat.
I didn't say it. It was in the report. It was in the report. It was in the report. But it's like saying, and I'll finalize on that with this. Germans, when they build what they build, half of them probably, and again, stand corrected, most of them probably cannot articulate in English. But when they bring the science and their physics on the table, we don't question the standard and the efficiency of a Mercedes.
Let me go as far as saying, for example, she did not bring the standard and the quality of the Mercedes-Benz at that committee vetting.
This is what the report says.
Yes,
all right.
Go ahead.
That
like that one.
The nominee did not demonstrate knowledge of topical, administrative, and technical issues touching on the Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage. Consequently, the nominee lacks requisite abilities and experience to serve as a Cabinet Secretary for Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage.
Now,
they did not say that she could not speak English, that she was using too many words, that she was getting mixed up. Did not demonstrate knowledge. Demonstrate knowledge.
How do you demonstrate knowledge?
You've just told us now that the Germans cannot speak English, but when they bring a Mercedes-Benz, you can demonstrate.
So
she didn't demonstrate.
If I was looking for what she's
Guardiola demonstrates knowledge by mentioning striker, ball, field, goal.
Shoot, goal, manage.
I told you there's no syllabus. There's no syllabus. There's no qualification per se. And I like where he started. There's no qualification that you need this set of skill to become the CS this.
Actually, you do.
But actually, that's why I asked you, what's the experience? What's the experience? Yeah. In some of the dockets that people have gotten, agriculture, what knowledge do they have in agriculture?
Demonstrate knowledge.
Look, if someone
knowledge,
you must define that knowledge.
Administrative and technical issues.
Let me tell you. Okay. Let me tell you. Then that's why I think
they'd also look at maybe you're not able to demonstrate, but your experience can bear you witness. Now, if she is somebody who has been in the tourism, wildlife docket, has been working for the hospitality industry in Kenya, has worked in any of the conservancies, or has worked at KWS, but they're here, and because of the room and the intimidation of the room, they're not able to articulate properly. But then, this person has served in this industry for long. You could say they have experience, but there's an issue. Maybe let's give her a chance. But if this person has not had any of those things, and then she comes and she's not able to demonstrate that she understands the issues.
By end of day today.
For example, just as I finish. For example, the other nominees. We heard, for example, Moses Kuria. Moses Kuria, when he appeared there, he said, I have held a meeting with people at the trade ministry. I have sat down with the outgoing CS. I've sat down with the PS. I have had conversations with them. And I'm coming here and I can articulate. Moses was saying, I have also served in the Trade Committee of the National Assembly. I have worked in the financial services sector as an investment banker. So I have a grasp of, so he has the experience and he has taken time to understand the issues. Okay? Kipchumba the same. He's a lawyer. And then got into politics. But he spoke of, I have had time with the people in the docket of transport infrastructure. I have understood the issues. I have interrogated the issues. What did Penina do? Did she give the confidence to the committee that, you know what, I spent time, I have met, I have talked to people in the industry, I have talked to the Kenya Tourism Federation, I have talked to the Kenya Tourism Board, I understand what the issues are, I've talked to the hospitality union, somebody, I have dealt with this before, and I think this is the way to go. If she does not demonstrate any of that, then you miss it.
I think if she wasn't
and you cannot
briefed,
give it to her to give it to you.
I think if she wasn't briefed, then there's a very big and huge disconnect.
Who was supposed to brief her?
I mean, once you're nominated, you need to get briefings from the ministry that you're going to be. Every other CS I would expect by now, they would have gotten briefings, including her. I can nearly say, without a shred of doubt, probably she was briefed.
Okay.
Right?
Did she understand it?
But still, you see, the understanding that I'm coming with to this equation is this person has been a deputy governor. I'd have expected her to know things, to be able to comprehend things, and to be able to deliver things. Being a deputy governor for 5 years does not necessarily mean this person has been there for all these years, she didn't learn something, or she's not able to do something. So we must qualify her with what she's able to deliver. What is she able to deliver? And that can only come
but when Gabriel, this lady was very many things before she attempted to be women's rep and then became deputy governor. She's not unaccomplished. It's not as though she's freshly minted and she's just come from some backwater
wet
place.
Behind the ears.
No, that is not the case, really. We are discussing a political process as though it is an interview for some discipline which requires some educational background and practice in the same. This is not the LSK. Okay? A political organization, and yet you must be a lawyer. It isn't the KMA where you really need to be a clinical person, a doctor. You need to have some knowledge. This is politics. What do you need to be in politics? What's the requirement for being in politics?
What's the number one thing that a politician needs to have? Inspire confidence in the public.
Precisely.
Get the public behind you.
Yes.
Now, if you miss that, and how do you do that? Number one, give to the GAB.
Actually, yes and no, Eric.
Well,
yes and no, Eric.
The things that
our
you do.
Politics.
Well, there's money as well.
Yes, but what you need is you need the nod from a political leader, the kingpin of a party.
Correct.
That nod.
Correct.
You get that nod.
Correct.
These are things we're discussing here.
That's true.
It's good for discussion.
But even the nod, even as you get the nod, the person who is nodding would hope that when you get there and you're standing on your own, that you can carry your own.
You see, you're speaking on behalf of the appointing officer
I am sure that President William Ruto would not want a situation where the person that he has nominated would go and show as though they are not able to do the job. I don't think so.
But I think
I will remind you too.
No, there's something that he's bringing to the table.
Okay,
and I don't want it to get I don't want it to get lost. What he's actually saying is, which I agree with 110%, there are certain sets of likability that she had satisfied before she was nominated. Politically.
Yes.
That is why it's a political position.
Yes.
For somebody to have nominated her, for President William Ruto to have nominated her, there are certain levels of variables that she had satisfied, whether it's gender, whether it's regional balance.
And we are told he sets his bar very high.
And also...
he met a high bar.
Exactly. And also, probably the politics of 2027 may have... also come to play.
It's at the center. It's at the heart of these appointments.
You get.
Okay. So, or should I call them nominations? No, but they're appointments.
Yes.
Really.
So there's so much in there that item that we pick on confidence or that item we pick with what they report, this rejection report that they wrote. That's why, to me, I would really water it down.
Okay.
In a way, because she has satisfied the most important things to me. Because to me, I need a credible leader. Yesterday,
Parliament,
24 people were fired from Safaricom because of M-Pesa fraud. These are employees. These people are knowledgeable. They are smart. They are skilled. For somebody to be able to fraud through M-Pesa, you know what you're doing. You need that skill. You need that knowledge. But they used it for nuisance. This lady, we are told, she satisfied that critical, important virtue
to the appointing authority,
and to even Parliament.
She did everything.
To me, that should be the guiding.
The public. She will be serving the public. You see, this is not just a game being played in State House. It's a game being played in the public domain as well.
Can I ask you something?
Even if we talk about the 2027 election, we have also to look at, all right, will the people which constituency she represents, which William Ruto hopes to tap, will they rally behind her simply because she was appointed? Or will they feel proud of saying, you know what, Penina, that's ours? Will they? Do they have the confidence?
Okay.
From what she's done, from how she performed in this interview, from everything else, do they have the confidence? I think that's also an important consideration. I'll remind you as we conclude of Phyllis Kandie in 2013. Phyllis Kandie, highly experienced, came from an investment bank, was nominated by the Ruto bros then to become the CS for tourism, wildlife, same. By 2027, the industry was the one that was petitioning the president.
2017.
By 2017, yes. The industry was petitioning the president to save her from the job. And the president listened.
Now, from what you've just said,
they felt, I mean, she's coming. It was the same. It was about, initially it was about, okay, I'll give her time. It's about her articulation. I mean, Phyllis has come from a financial services sector. She's not been dealing with people. Just give her time. She give her time. That time came and went. And she was removed. She was appointed as an ambassador.
Put it in a different
same
context.
thing.
Put it in a different context. What if Penina goes through? Let us just say if she happens.
I guarantee you, within a 1 year, the industry will be petitioning President William Ruto
to save her,
to ask her to be saved. We are going into the news.
No, let's not cast.
We continue the conversation.
No, let's not cast.
Hold on, Gabriel. It's 9 o'clock.